Hi everyone, it's Nicole Noasan and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I have a second video for you today for National Scrapbook Day for Scrapbook and Cards Today magazine. We're doing a scrap lift challenge from different images in our magazine, and I chose this photo page here from my friend Jenny McGarvey, who I just love several different items about this page. So I'm going to get started and just kind of talk about why what I was drawn to when I chose this layout. So Jenny is a really great person and she's super talented, and I really love that she has boys, and I don't often get to scrapbook my boys, mostly because I don't have a lot of photos, but I actually had this photo here of my son that I thought would be perfect for this challenge, and I love that she used a circular die cut. So I went ahead and started with that as my beginning inspiration, and I just die cut this background here from my cut file store Just Nick, and it's the pebble background, lace pebble background I think it's called. And I'm just cutting some, using the template left over from the inside of the circles to cut out circles. So I'm just kind of flipping them upside down and just using them, I guess, as a bit of a tracer, and just cutting around, leaving a slight little gap around the edge so it sticks to the back of that paper. Now that cardstock that I cut it from is actually Silhouette adhesive back cardstock, so it's sticky, so I don't need to add any glue to it. So it's kind of the best case scenario in this situation. So I've just cut that out, and it's a lot of just playing around with what papers you want to use to line the backing. And I've chosen a bunch of different Amy Tangerine papers for this. They all kind of go together. There's different like teal and navy and like a lighter blue, and I'll do a couple pieces of black also. And just really randomly going through and putting down one color at a time, and then once I get them all, you can see I've just filled it in. Kind of randomizing up the patterns and the colors so that there's not too many of the same color beside each other. I'm just going to fill in this last little circle here. This does take a little bit of time. I obviously sped it up, but I don't mind doing it while I'm watching TV or have some music on. Now Jenny's page had a nice grid paper in the background, and I thought about using this one I had here, but I really like this little polka dot one better. So for my project, I decided to go with that. But I am going to put my circle die cut along the bottom edge of my page, just like Jenny did on her page. And so that's where the similarity kind of starts, I guess, with the project. Is I use it almost like a sketch. How she placed elements on her page is how I decided to try to put some of the items that I'm going to do on my page. So not only is it, the theme of the page that I've chosen, but the circular background, and then I'm going to use the layout itself like a bit of a sketch for the base of how my project is going to turn out. So I'm just adding some low profile foam adhesive. This stuff's by Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L, and I'm just going to add this die cut background there to the back. And it's really not super puffy, so it's not going to be super thick in my album, but it's going to add a little bit of a shadow behind that die cut area. Now in Jenny's page, she had these Jelly Bean Soup file folders, and I really like that, but I didn't have anything that would go with my paper choices that I made here. So I have this sheet of paper that was from Amy Tangerine. I think it was Stitched collection, and I'm going to just choose a couple of these from the paper and cut them apart. They almost look like a larger label. So I've chosen a gray and a green and even a yellow color here just to add another color into my project. And I decided my photo was getting a little bit lost with all that color going on, so I layered it over some black cardstock, and I'm going to pop that up again with some foam adhesive. And I had a sheet of this pink paisley label paper from the Memorandum collection lying around, and I thought that there's a million gazillion labels on there, and so they're perfect for cutting out and layering bits. And they're really easy to cut out, obviously, because they're just a rectangle with some fun corners on it. So I'm just going to clip that on here. My plan is to have that kind of in the top right hand corner of my photo, and now this is the part that I find the most difficult, aside from choosing what to use, is the title. So I'm terrible at titles. I completely suck at them. So if there's any sort of sticker or die cut that will solve my problem for me, I will use it. So I really like this Craft Today, but craft was too light, so I just went ahead and put the chipboard piece there on my craft mat, and you can see I just added some black ink with my ink pad just to change the color. So now I'm going to go ahead and add that onto my layout. At first I thought I was going to add it to above the top edge of the circles, but now I've decided I'm going to do what Jenny did, which is she added her title right to her photo. So I'm going to do a similar thing. So just kind of trying to place it so you can see my photo still along and have a good placement for my title. So I'm just going to take this label here and I'm just going to staple it right on and then stick my letters right on top of that. So you kind of get a little bit of a layer from that label along with the chipboard. So I kind of like how that turned out. I really love that handwritten today. That's a really great title. I mean, it's kind of a boring title, but it's the beginning of my title. You'll see. I do cut out a couple more of these label shapes just to add little bits of layering in behind my photo. Because there's so much kind of paper going on in that circular area, I don't want to add a whole lot of stuff because I find that pages the pages go together and you put a lot of stuff on top of all the paper, it just gets kind of lost. So I'm just going to add a couple little bits of chipboard here along with these layered, I guess you can call them labels, in behind my photo. And I'm just going to start getting things stuck down. When I start to get a little bit stuck in what I want to do, what else I want to add, I just start sticking things down. I find it's just once I get something down, then I'm not going to kind of go back and move it around and waste a lot of time. You just kind of have to commit to it. So I am going to wreck my yellow ink pad here though, because I'm going to use a dirty roller stamp. And you can see I've totally just trashed my ink pad there and gotten black ink all inside my yellow Clearly Kelly ink pad, which was a super pretty yellow color. And I just need to figure that out, how to clean that up, but I'll do that later. And I'm just going to always add the date, even though I actually add a lot of journaling all the time. But in this case, I just added the date onto one of those labels. And now I'm adding some chipboard. These are from Simple Stories, the Life in Color collection. So I'm going to add that. And just a few stars and some little chipboard hearts and things. And then I decided I liked the way the word today was with that label, but I really wanted to kind of build on that title because today is kind of just generic. So it doesn't really say a lot about what's going on in the photo or what's going on at this point in time. So I grabbed some of these mini letter stickers and I'm just going to add on to my title. So I'm just going to take a piece of this paper here that I trimmed out already and I'm going to use the letter stickers to write out today isn't easy, and go from there. So I'm just kind of lining things up, and this is one of my new favorite tools. I think I'd mentioned in another video, but it's my Tim Holtz. It's like a paper piercer, and I used to use a little tiny teeny Heidi Swapp paper piercer, which I still use because it's good for poking really small holes. But this one's actually pretty good for placing things. I like to use it to place different embellishments onto the page. So especially things like letter stickers, if you need to move a tiny little apostrophe or something, it's good if you have a little paper piercer just to kind of move things around. So I'm just adding a few other little bits to my project, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut another layering piece here from pattern paper, and this is just going to be that remember this kind of item, and I'm going to layer that on the top left corner of my project and lifting some of the stuff out of the way so I can get that in there, and that just brings some of that navy blue up into the top left corner. And then I'm going to just finish off my title. I got a little sidetracked there because I felt like it was too much empty space above the photo, and it was kind of driving me crazy. So I'm just going to write, today's an easy, tomorrow will be amazing. So I'm just putting more of those little mini letter stickers onto the top edge of this paper and sticking them right down on my photo. And I like these ones because they're not really curvy, they're pretty straight up and down, so it's nice to mix them with a curvy title like that black today word. So it's a good mix of the serif and the sans serif. It's very technical. I'm also going to grab now another sans serif. So I have these fun freckled fawn wood veneers, so I'm going to color one of them up, and I'm just going to add that to the bottom of my photo, and that's pretty much going to finish off the majority of my page. I just take the lid off my misting bottle here. Instead of using a paintbrush, I'm just going to use that to kind of almost flood the wood veneer. And now it's dried off, so I just let it dry for a few minutes, and I'm just using some wet glue to stick that down and clean up all my mess. And I think at this point my layout is basically done. I don't want to add a whole lot of other things to it because there is quite a bit of paper and patterns going on. So that's pretty much how things came together. So you can take a look here. That's how my title came out. I really love how that yellow amazing looks. It looks pretty delicious and yummy. And I love all the little patterns in behind the circles, and that white border on the circle just kind of brings it all together. So thanks, Jenny, for letting me scrap lift your page. I was super inspired by it, and I hope you guys are too. Please visit my blog. If you have any questions, just drop me a note. Bye-bye.